Hello, everybody watching the stream. Today we are back again with Aeshna, who is going to take up a session on GitHub Copilot for TypeScript. She is going to talk about how GitHub Copilot can help us in code writing, how it can improve our code writing skills, and how it is beneficial overall for our code manipulation. So, handing over the stage to Aeshna.
Hello everyone. Today, Aeshna is going to take a session on GitHub Copilot for TypeScript. Coming to the agenda first, what exactly is what all we'll be learning in today's session? We'll be talking about it in the agenda slide. The first being what is GitHub Copilot. The second being how does it work. The third being key features and the use cases of GitHub Copilot. Fourth being the advantages and the limitation. When we are talking about GitHub Copilot, we have mostly talked about what all it offers, but it's important for us to equally understand what are its limitations when we are working with it. The second last would be Copilot in action. Basically, we'll be presenting a live demo as to how can we use GitHub Copilot with TypeScript and JavaScript, and pricing and availability, and whatever questions and answers you have. Since we are in a live forum, I understand I might not be able to take up questions, but I'll be available on the uh, public places like LinkedIn. So please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or you want to understand anything in particular. Moving to the first slide, what exactly is GitHub Copilot? So after the introduction of ChatGPT in this market, in the technology market, there has been a lot of buzz. There has been a lot of words that have been thrown upon us to be able to understand as to how can we incorporate artificial intelligence in our code, or will our jobs be taken away by them, for that matter. What today we will have to understand is we have to leverage artificial intelligence into our lives to be able to be more efficient and faster, and to be able to be more effective rather than getting scared of being replaced by them. So the kind of technology that we have today is not good enough, I should say, or is not smart enough, I should say, that they will be able to replace us or will be able to do our jobs. The moment I'll go into live demo, you'll be able to better understand the point I'm making here. But it is very important for us to be able to take help and incorporate them to be able to become efficient and good engineers in this new age era. So, what exactly is GitHub Copilot? So, as written in the slide, in the world increasingly driven by software, the demand for efficient and effective technology coding solutions has never been higher. So, GitHub, a platform synonymous with the code repository and version control, basically, it is a place that actually is a storehouse of all the code that is available. It is the place that has most amount of code, has joined forces with OpenAI. OpenAI is actually the company who has made ChatGPT, a pioneer in the artificial intelligence research to address this growing need. The result of this collaboration is GitHub Copilot, a tool designed to act as a co pilot in your coding journey, hence the name. So, what exactly is a co pilot? Whenever I'm sure you guys must have been in some flights, you must have taken some flight. So, in that flight, there's a pilot who is operating that flight. With the pilot, there's always a co-pilot who is present beside the person. So the co-pilot assists the pilot in the all the operations that are required to be able to, like, take us from one destination to another smoothly. In a very similar way, GitHub Copilot works for us, us as the coders. So GitHub Copilot is an assisting tool which helps us to code more effectively and efficiently. Hence the name. So there's a very interesting anecdote that I would like to share here. During my time at Microsoft, when I was interning at Microsoft, there was a very interesting anecdote that was shared by a very senior person there. They mentioned that once they introduced a product in the market that was not relevant to the name that we had given to the product. So it took us a lot of money to be able to explain to people as to what we are making, or what this product caters to. So from then on, they took a learning that whatever they are making, they'll make the product, basically they'll name the product in a way that it works as a marketing forum itself, and it helps person or people who are using it to be able to understand as to what product they are using or what they have to offer. hence the name GitHub Copilot. I could not think of a better name that they could have thought of to be able to make people understand as to what this product offers. So Copilot is actually an assisting tool that will sit next to you in your coding journey to be able to help you in all the problems that you face during your coding journey. So one very important, like very interesting myth that I've seen in this community is that GitHub Copilot is only for VS Code. That's not true. It can be integrated with any IDE for that matter. It can be Visual Studio, VS Code, JetBrains, Newvim. So it's not just limited to VS Code. Moving forth, how does it work? So this is a very interesting point, that how does it actually works. So it is powered by OpenAI's Codex model, trained on billions of lines of public code. So it, like, this billions of lines of public code is definitely present from, like, definitely taken up from GitHub, and it has, the model has been trained on it, and it understands the nuances, the best practices that languages follow, and in that pretext is able to guide you or help you, makes you understand better. Uses context uses context from your code and comments to predict what you want to write next. So basically it's not just, so basically contextual understanding of the code is very very important. So if I'm writing code that is pertaining to a login page, it makes me like it auto suggests or tells me what should have come next in the line. So for example, if I've mentioned an input in which there is first name, it will automatically mention that the next input should be the last name. So this contextual understanding of what kind of code I'm writing or what product I'm making makes it very, very powerful. And it works in real time as you type, suggest functions, logics, and more. So the more I'll in the live demo, you'll be able to understand it more, wherein I'll be showing you how it understands what I'm trying to write, and how it understands not just what I'm writing, what I want to write, and what product I'm making, which is very, very powerful, in my opinion. So coming to the key features and the use cases. So GitHub Copilot is not just another autocomplete tool. It's a multifaceted coding assistant designed to elevate your entire development process. So it's not just what you can think that it can autocomplete. It's not just a spell check that is happening on, or an autocomplete that is happening in your regular chat that you do. It is not limited to that. It has more functions and more understanding of what you are building. So this will be better understood when we deep dive into the live demo. But over here, I'll just take a few minutes to be able to tell you what are the key features one by one. One is the auto completion of code, for sure. If you're writing, it understands what function you are writing. It auto completes by itself. The second is multi-language support. That is very powerful. It is not limited to a single language. It is not like if you're writing JavaScript, if you're writing C++, if you're writing Java, that it is limited to the language that you're coding in. It is not limited. It has multi-language support. Any language that you put in, any language that you are trying to understand. Like today, we'll be diving in deep with Copilot with TypeScript. So you'll be able to understand it better, that how vast knowledge it has of a particular language that you are using it for. Then contextual understanding, as I told you, that it not just understands what code I'm writing, like what it should be the syntax and what should be the best practices, but it also understands what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to make, what I'm trying to build, and hence gives me smart suggestions. Like if you're trying to, if you end up missing something, if it's not in your mind, it gives you a smart suggestion that if you are if you are using this, if you're making this should also be added. For example, if you are asking for login details, in the login details, first name, last name, and in that case, it will auto suggest you that you should ask for email also. It will auto suggest you for the things that you are building your product for, that why it is useful. Yeah, you should add these things also that might be required by you later when you build up things eventually, because it has understanding of a lot of code that has been built and shipped, that has been finished and shipped. So it understands that what stages are you going through, and it understands that what things you will need eventually, if not today. So that is very very powerful. Coming to the code documentation, so one thing that I have seen many engineers cry upon, even me, that we don't like to document the code that we do. So coding is the forte that coders have, but documentation is something that lags in various big companies as well. So this tool, GitHub Copilot, does documentation on your behalf too. So you can ask the GitHub Copilot to document whatever you are writing in code to be able to be shared with the product teams or different teams that you are collaborating with, to be to those who do not understand the coding language, or those who do not understand what code you are writing, to be able to be presented at multiple forums or to be shared to gain alignment from multiple teams. And this is something that saves a lot of time for engineers, as they can focus more on the code that they are writing rather than the processes they have to follow. And fifth, the last of all here is collaborative coding. So what do we actually mean by collaborative coding? So the moment I started working in the industry, I understood it is not important for you to write code. It is important for you to write the code that is coherent with the repository that you are working in. So if 10 people are working on that code base, it is important for you to be able to write in a way, in a way, or in the syntax, or in a particular coding practices that is being followed in that particular repository. So you have to follow the best coding practices that are being followed in the repository. So in this way, what does GitHub Copilot does is it understands the context or the practices that are being followed in your code repositories, and then it makes suggestions in that way, that if it is followed, that it is being mandated for you in JavaScript's language to use map, filter, reduce, then it will give you all the functions in a way that you are always using map, filter, or reduce, rather than writing for loop for itself. So that makes it even more interesting, and even more, and makes you even more powerful, or makes you even more interested to be able to collaborate with GitHub Copilot. Coming to the advantages and the limitation, the moment I started, I said that it is very important. I'll be talking a lot about how you can use GitHub Copilot and where you can use GitHub Copilot, but it is equally important for you to understand where the powers of GitHub Copilot is limited. And since it is like artificial intelligence, we are in the age of where artificial intelligence is building. So it is very, very important for us to understand that the tool or the product is not in its full power or potential. So we cannot rely 100% on that particular tool. So coming to the advantages, of course, it saves a lot of time, boosts your productivity, improves code efficiency, and helps you learn multiple languages. So even if you don't know what GitHub Copilot is writing for you, you can ask GitHub Copilot to explain you what GitHub Copilot is suggesting. So it's not just suggestions. It not just suggests, but it also explains. So it's not limited to suggestions, but it is also open for learning. So it encourages best practices through smart code suggestions. So since it has a context of billions of lines of code, it tells what is the best practices that is being followed around the industry, what is the best practices that is followed in the code repository you are working in, and in collaborations gives you the best possible code in terms of the practices that are followed with respect to that specific language or repository. Coming to the limitation, may generate incorrect or non-optimal code. That is something that we might be able to see once I present a live demo, because when we go live, you will be able to see that it is not working the best because it is not in its full potential, and it is still learning from the data it has. So it might not be able to give the best code, and it is dependent on context, works best with the clear prompts. So the moment you will be writing the best possible, uh, the moment you'll be able to explain in the best possible form to GitHub Copilot as to what you want, only then it will be able to present a clear solution or a function of what you want. So in engineering, or while you are solving problems, there will be a lot of times when you will be facing such issues wherein the problem is fuzzy, where it's not very clear. So it's very important for us engineers to be present in such places to be able to give the correct prompt, so that the GitHub Copilot understands what you want and then be able to produce the code that you're looking for. Privacy concerns, trained on publicly available code, raising licensing issues. So it is important, like, since the code is ultimately an intellectual property, so there might be a lot of duplication or plagiarism problems that you might face, because GitHub Copilot is ultimately giving you the code that is publicly present because it has been trained on that. So that issues might come up when you are dealing with things that have IP involved in them. Hence, you should be cautious as to what code are you accepting if there are any IP issues associated with it. So without further ado, we move to the Copilot in action and we go to the live demo. Moving to the VS Code, I have already created a new folder by the name of Copilot. And let's see, let's start working. So let me create a new folder. Let me create a new file in the folder Copilot by the name of students.ts.ts, that is TypeScript. That is the extension for TypeScript files. So one important thing is you have to put in the right extensions, that is GitHub Copilot Chat and GitHub Copilot from the extensions in the VS Code. So what you'll have to do is you have to come here and type GitHub Copilot, and you'll be able to find the right extensions for yourself. So GitHub Copilot I have already installed. So as you can see, you can install it for yourself. So right now, GitHub Copilot is not free. It is not free. Basically, it is free for a month for people like us, and then it charges $10 per month. So right now, I've installed GitHub Copilot for myself on the GitHub that I am using. So here is the students.ts file on which we'll be starting with the demo. So what I will do is I'll start with const. Let me put a block scope here and let me start now. So const student one. So as you can see, it is already suggesting me the equal to one curly braces. So what I'll do is I'll accept it and I will open this code as an object. So now we will wait. As you can see, it is already suggesting me what should what should be associated with the student. That is very interesting. That name, age, courses, all of these things must be associated with the students, which does make sense to me. Hence, I'll be using it. This is what is the understanding that GitHub Copilot takes. Like, it understands you are writing a student object. It understands that what properties should be associated with a student object. So what I can do is I should not limit a student to be a part of a single course. So what I will do is I will mention multiple courses, and in that courses I'll mention multiple things that I want. Like, it is not just computer science, and let's see what does GitHub Copilot has to offer. Amazing. So what does it shows me? It shows me that it is what should be the name of the course and what is the grade, basically what is the marks that the person is getting in that particular course, which does make sense to me. So again, I'll use this, and then what I will do is I will probably enter another course. Again, GitHub Copilot is giving a great suggestion that English might be the course for that particular person, and I'll use it. And course 3, this is the last course that I'll be limiting myself to, and this is science, and this is the grade that the person gets. Amazing. So now coming to a little TypeScript uh, that I want the type for this particular student. So let's see what I can do. So what I'm doing here is I'll press Command I, and I'll give a prompt to GitHub Copilot to write, yeah, provide the type for student 1. Let's see what does it say. As you can see, it is generating. Okay, so we have something. As you can see, this is the student. It has the name. The type is student. Name is string number. Courses has course. Course has a different type. That is name string grade. That's amazing. I think this is something that I was looking for. So let's accept the suggestion. And I see my work is pretty much done. Let's accept the curly brace as well. And this is amazing that GitHub Copilot has offered me. So moving forth, what I'm going to do is I am going to create a students array. And as you can see, like, the moment I have mentioned students, GitHub Copilot knows that what I want. I am looking for a students array, and this is what I am creating. So this is student and students array. So what I am going to do is I am going to remove student one from here, and let's see what does it give me. So as you could see, I think, yeah, as you could see, it is able to give me what I want. Basically, it is giving me a demo set of students that I want in my students array. So let's populate it. So two students might not be enough for me. I might want more. Let me format it for better understanding. Yeah, that's better. And let's see. The moment I have entered next, it knows that my intention was to add more students into the array, so it automatically suggests me to give me more students. So let me click tab to accept the suggestion, and let's take one more student in the students array, and then we'll be good to go for writing multiple functions that we might want around this. So the suggestions is taking a little more time. Let me enter it again. So it is taking longer than expected. Let me enter an array. Yeah. So the moment I opened it, the curly braces for an object, it understood my intention and it gave me suggestions. Great. So this is the first student. This is the second student, third, fourth, and I think there is a mismatch that it did in terms of the curly braces. So let me remove the last one and let me add another. So this is some limitations that I was talking about. It is not smart enough to be able to understand how it is populating the code. So you have to be smart and vigilant as to be able to understand where to start and where to stop. So till the point, I think till this point it looks fine. We should remove. Okay, I think it's fine. Let's format it better to be able to understand it better. Great. So it's fine. It gave me so the number of students we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's great. So let's move forward. And what can we do with the students data? So what my intentions is, look, so it automatically suggests what all can I do with my students array. It says that print the name of the student who has highest average grade. So I feel it's too complicated for us to understand, so let's start with something basic. Let's start with print the name. So the moment I'll write the comment, it will understand what I want. So it understands the comments and it understands what is the intention. So print the name of the student with highest marks, with highest grade, since it grade is the property that is using in math. Yes. Let's see now what it has to offer. Okay, let's take it. So I don't think it is the right suggestion that has been provided to me. So what I have like this, amazing. So as we can see that we have something that we want. So this is what it shows. So it shows student with the highest math grade, and it has written some function. So let's see if it is working as per the expectation or not. So as you can see, it tells me that what should I do. I should have console logged it. So this is what I want to do, and let's see now how should I go about it. So right now, since I have written all of these things, now my I don't know how to run this code. Like I've written, okay, TypeScript code. Now what do? I don't know how to run this code. Even then I can leverage GitHub Copilot. So what I will do is I will ask GitHub Copilot to help me run the PS file. Okay, please help me run the TypeScript file. To run the TypeScript file, I have to do all of this. So let's follow. So as you can see, the moment I hover, it has some options, wherein the first option is insert into the terminal. So I don't even have to copy paste. I can merely insert it into the terminal and it will get inserted, and I have to press enter. So there's an installation that will run. Awesome. So the package has been installed. Then what it has asked me to compile the TypeScript file. So I'm on to the compilation now. Just taking some time. Let's wait for the file to get compiled. Awesome. It has worked successfully. So as I can see, there is a students.js file. So now what does it want me to do? It asks me to run the students.js file. Sorry, no copy paste. Yeah. So I get just the terminal, and this is what it provides. That's great. So it has given me Alice is the person who has got the highest grade in math. So let's see whether the code that has been given by GitHub Copilot is right or not. So Alice has 90 in maths, Bob has 80 in maths, Charlie has 17 maths, David has 16 maths, and Eve has 15 maths. So, absolutely correct. Whatever data that GitHub Copilot has given to me is perfectly correct. So, now one very interesting thing is like, what if the course one is not all the time the course one is math? So, for example, this is course one and this is course two for me. So, in this case, our code will not run properly. So, will I be able to, like, I will ask GitHub Copilot to be able to change that particular code. Let's see how promptly does the job. Uh, Change the code if course one is not always maths. So yes, not always math. Filter between the courses to find math course and then compare the grades. Let's see now. So interesting. It has given some code. Let's accept it for now and let's see by making some changes. So now let's make our courses. Let's change our courses. Let's make our course this to be course one, this to be course two, and then let's make this to be course one and this to be course three, and let's see what our results are. So let's compile the TSC file, the TypeScript file. Are we logging it? Let's see. Yes, we are logging. We're still logging it. Yes. It's taking a little time. That's great. We have got the compiled file and let's run it now. It's still Alice. Okay, let's see whether that still holds true or not, whether the answer still holds true or not. So the Alice, okay, Alice still has 19 maths. So let's make a change. Let's add Bob to have 95 in maths. Let's see if our answer changes as per the expectation. And this is not in course one also. Math is in course two for Bob. So let's see if our answer changes. Let's compile it. Taking a few minutes in the compilation. Yeah, let's try and run it. Amazing. As you can see, our result is now Bob. So that's what the expectation is. Anybody that is getting this, so in this whatever course, so for maths, whenever even if you change the hierarchy of the courses or the number of the courses, it will be able to give you the right result and as per the expectation. So that's amazing that we have figured out. One, we will try and use or leverage it for one more thing. Let's see if it is like as I can see that. Yeah. So, like, I don't know what this find does, what this reduce does. Let's try to educate myself through this. Let's, like, right now we have leveraged, till now we have leveraged GitHub Copilot to be able to write the code for me. Now I am leveraging GitHub Copilot to be able to understand what code it's write and to be able to learn. So here what I'll do is I'll click on the button that basically on the code word that I am confused about. I'll click Command I and I'll open the prompt. Please explain what does reduce function do in TypeScript or JavaScript, whatever. As you can see, it has given me a very detailed documentation to be able to understand what does reduce function do. So the reduce function in TypeScript and JavaScript is a powerful array method used to iterate over an array and accumulate a single output value. It applies a reducer function to each element of the array, passing through the results. So you can see, you can understand each and everything. It has given you all the relevant example, and it tells you as to how you can use it in your code. So basically you can use GitHub Copilot to be able to learn about the new language that is getting introduced to you, and you can leverage this to make yourself more effective and efficient. As you can see, it is made in a very smart way. Whenever I asked for code suggestions, I had the option to be able to accept the code, but right now it understood that I'm here trying to educate myself or learn from the tool. It has no option of acceptance but to close or view in chat. So I will prefer closing it. And this is how we use GitHub Copilot with TypeScript. So this is a small live demo that I wanted to present to all of you folks to be able to understand how we can leverage GitHub Copilot in TypeScript. We can not just limit ourselves to writing code, but also test cases. So what I am going to do is I am going to write a test case for this. I might not be able to run it due to the time that we have, due to the limitation of time that we have, but I'm definitely going to show you how you can create test cases. So what you can do is you can click on the function, you can click on Copilot, and what we can do is generate test. So the moment you write on generation of test, it will, what it will do, it will start generating test for you. So this seems like the test that we want. So like, let's accept it. So, okay, let me save this and it will come over here. So this is the student.ts file. So as you can see, it is crying because it is not able to find it. So let's mention it like this, or let's leverage GitHub Copilot to ask that what is the problem. So quick fix using GitHub Copilot. The problem is that TypeScript expects the file extension to be there for the modules, but the import should not include the file extension. Okay, so let's do it. Let's see. It still gives a problem. Quick fix. Let's see what it has to offer. Okay, so it says that we might not export. To fix this, ensure that student.ts file exports the students array. Okay, let's try and uh, accept the suggestion that it is making. Let's see if the error goes. So it has introduced another error. So these are few things that I always, that I mentioned, that it is important for us to understand that it is limited. Whatever suggestions that it is making is not relevant to solve this particular problem. So it is very important for you or for engineers to be present, as it only works as an assistant and not as the main pilot, and won't be able to drive the code that you are making change into. So it just works as for you to be able to suggest what changes you should make, but it is important for you to use your own judgment and to be able to understand what changes are you making, what to accept and what to decline. So these are some things that I wanted to tell you as a part of the live demo of the GitHub Copilot with TypeScript. Moving back to our presentation, I hope the demo was informative for you. You were able to understand, you were able to find what you were looking for, and I was able to help you to be able to use GitHub Copilot in your daily lives. Moving to the next slide, pricing and availability. So it is available via GitHub Copilot subscription. It is free for students and open source contributors. So if you're still in college, I would really suggest you to go ahead and be able to like explore the most out of GitHub Copilot, dirty your hands with the code, and make sure that you make the most out of the GitHub Copilot subscription that you're getting for free. They also have paid plans of $10 per month and $100 per year for every user, for which the initial month is free, but you can check if it's still in the pipeline. The first month free is still in the pipeline. So as I mentioned, it not just works with a single ID, that is VS Code. Since VS Code is very popularly uh, assimilated into coders' lives. So it is very, very popular, and it is a myth that has been assimilated into today's generation that GitHub Copilot is only available on VS Code. Well, that's not true. GitHub Copilot is present with multiple IDs as well. So that's all from me. It was a great experience for me to share as to what all I had and to be able to present a live demo of GitHub Copilot with TypeScript. So for any questions, I'll be available on all the public forums. Please feel free to reach out. And in case you need any help, I'll be available. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ashna. You guys can drop your doubts in the YouTube comment section. Also, Ashna will keep a check on it, and you can follow Ashna on LinkedIn. It was a great session, Ashna. I hope our audience loved it and they got to learn a lot. And thank you so much for taking up the session from It's Your Developer community. Thank you so much. Means a lot to us.
Thank you so much. It was a great time. Thank you so much for having me.
I'll end this stream.